Hey guys, it's Squall, and this is part 24 of Everlasting Summer. I opened it and went inside a small room. Nobody was here except Shurik, who sat in the corner. Shurik! He stared at me with eyes full of terror. Don't come near me. Shurik, it's me, Semyon. I won't give up so easily. He grabbed a piece of a reinforced bar from behind his back and started waving it around. Shurik, what's wrong with you? Calm down. First you bring me here, then you take me through this mine, and now you're pretending to be Semyon. He must have gone completely nuts. Shurik, calm down. Nobody's pretending to be me. I really am me. I tried to talk as calmly as I could, but I was almost feeling more nervous than him. Semyon? He squinted. Is that really you? Yes. And now tell me, what happened? How did you get here? Shurik recovered his breath and started to talk. I needed some parts for the robot, and I heard that there is a bomb shelter in the old camp, and there could be some instruments there. So I got up in the morning and went. He stopped for a minute, trying to deal with the trembling of his hands. I found suitable parts, but then I read primal fear in his eyes. The voices, they told me to go here. I went down the mine. And then they were telling me to go to the right, then left, then right, then left, then right, then left. He started to laugh hysterically. But now they won't get me. I'll stay sitting here. They won't find me here. He once again started to wave his pipe in the air. Shurik, there's no one there. I wasted quite a lot of time walking in the mine like you, but didn't hear any voices. He fixed his eyes on me. Then you're with them. Now it was my turn to lose my mind. What have you done, you idiot? I lashed out with my hand in the direction where I expected Shurik to be, but to no avail. Now we'll both die here. I got nothing but silence in return, and then a quiet hysterical laugh. It's alright. That's fine. I know where the exit is. Follow me. Follow you where? I can't see a damn thing. Follow my voice. I had no other choice. Here. Shurik's voice was heard from somewhere further on. How do you know where to go? I walked all over here. Then why didn't you leave? The voices. Quiet. They can hear us. In theory, I could believe that there are some supernatural forces here. In the Sovyonok camp, they'd just be a daily occurrence. But there was no reason to panic yet, though my hands were shaking non-stop. Here, I slowly followed his voice and eventually lost track of time. We could have been roaming for a few minutes or a few hours. Finally, a dim light appeared in the distance. We're here. We reached the wall. The way towards freedom was blocked by a lattice on the ceiling. I pulled myself up and recognized the square from the bits of landscape I could see. Lift me up! Shurik obediently followed my request. I started to hit the grating with my fist so hard that in just a few strikes my arms were all covered in blood. But in return the grating gave way and pushed open. A minute later, we were out on the surface behind the monument of Genda. When I saw this grating before, I had no idea that there could be a catacombs below it. They will come for you. I fell to the ground, exhausted. Who? They will come, said Shirk again and ran away. I was so exhausted I could not even be bothered thinking about some voices or recalling the forsaken camp, the bomb shelter, or the mine. Almost unconscious, I reached the camp leader's cabin, but I couldn't go to bed right away. Well, look who's here. Olga Dmitrievna. I started tiredly, attempting to cut the explanation to a minimum. You said you were going for a walk, but instead... And I was going to go and call the police. And Olga Dmitrievna, can it wait until tomorrow? I'm really tired. The camp leader eyed me all over. Okay, fine. I was a bit surprised that she agreed so fast, but decided not to waste this opportunity and quickly turned the light off and darted under the covers. I didn't want to walk here alone and hope that Slavia would join me, but I couldn't bring myself to ask. Well, it's obvious, one basket for me, one for you two. No, let me go with you. Slavia smiled. Okay. I was a bit surprised, but I was also glad that it turned out like this. Lena seemed to take no offense at all. The reaping has commenced. The strawberries were delicious here indeed. I could probably eat them all if I didn't stop myself in time. Despite being wild grown, the berries were close to the garden ones in size and had a rich red color, so it was clear that our visit here wasn't in vain. Slavia was walking right beside me as we had only one basket. I felt like a mushroom picker, looking under every shrub and searching through the grass carefully. Pay attention. An entire bunch of strawberries had been left behind. Ah, yeah. I'm sorry. It's fine. You must enjoy being here, don't you? You like nature after all. Of course I do. Slavia smiled. It reminds me of my home. We have similar beautiful birches there. She gazed dreamily somewhere into the distance. Look, I've always wanted to ask, what do you like in general? You look busy 24/7 and it seems like you have no time to rest at all. She started to think. I don't know, really. Doing a variety of activities is enjoyable for me. Well, that's understandable, but still. I like knitting and sewing. Things like that. Slavia took a handkerchief out of her pocket. There were red, yellow, and green flowers embroidered on it. They were entangled with each other in a complicated way, creating sophisticated geometric forms. Such a typical Russian handmade handkerchief. Glimpsing it, I instantly imagined Slavia dressed in an ancient seraphim, sitting on a bench beside a ramshackle house with a crowd of playing children running around. It's quite cute. Thanks. Let me give it to you as a gift. Such a proposal embarrassed me. You shouldn't. No, take it. I looked at the handkerchief once again and put it into my pocket. Thank you. There were so many strawberries here that after a mere half an hour we had the basket filled up to the brim. It seems we're done. Yes. Got a lot, so it should surely be enough. When we got back to the boat, Lena wasn't there yet. She'd need more time to fill the basket by herself. Yeah, I guess so. I looked at the river. Sun sparkles happily dancing across the water's surface were the only thing that distinguished it from a mirror. That's how calm the river seemed. What are you thinking about? Nothing, really. And you? Me? What will happen once vacation is over? We'll have to leave this camp and go back to our homes. Will I ever see anyone I meet here again? Will I ever see you again? She looked at me with her eyes so full of sorrow that I couldn't think of what to say. Lena came out of nowhere, breaking the silence. Oh, you're done already. Here. She showed us a basket full of strawberries. Great. Now we can go back. And I still had Slavia's face and those words of her on my mind. Sadness and sorrow weren't the kinds of emotions typical of her. Could she be hiding them all under a mask of cheerfulness? Bit of a theme developing. I had no answer to this question and I knew I couldn't find one either way. Maybe later. All I was doing was just watching the fire. There is a saying that claims that one could watch it forever as well as running water. But there was also some third thing there. What was that? One could watch three things forever: burning fire, running water, and how other people work. The camp leader pulled me out of my daydreaming. Semyon, don't you think that it's too early to relax? But what else would I need to do? I honestly couldn't get what Olga Dmitrievna wanted from me. I don't know. She stopped for a moment. But if there is something to be done, then do it without hesitation. She smiled ambiguously and went back to the fire to throw a few branches on it. After those words, I am completely sure that she treats me like a personal slave. Or at least like I'm a free labor force, which is strictly speaking the same thing. I sighed and put my head down on my hands, hoping my torments would be over for today. Someone patted me on the shoulder. I looked up and saw Shirk and Electronic, who sat next to me. What do you want? I asked tiredly. Don't be sad. Is there anything better to do? Look, we've been discussing the possibilities for the advancement of the Cybernetics Club with Olga Dmitrievna. And there is a problem. We need more guys. If you could... He hesitated. Advancement and those guys are incompatible with each other. I said nothing and started to look over the pioneers around me instead. Well, I don't have time. Can't you see that I'm always busy with the camp leader's errands? Yeah, I guess you're right. It's kind of embarrassing how it all went today with Uliana. I looked at him with surprise. It seems that Shirk blames herself for that cake accident. Yeah, it is. All the pioneers seemed to be here, but I couldn't spot Slavia anywhere. I think she is angry with me. Who? I asked absently. Uliana. Maybe I should apologize? No, it's not your fault. We sat silently for a while and then I stood up and said, My legs are numb, I better take a walk. They made no reply. I made a few circles around our improvised camp, noticing the closed looks of the camp leader following me. Looks like Olga Dmitrievna couldn't wait to come up with some kind of new task for me. I haven't found Slavia anywhere. Maybe I should go and try to find her? On the other hand, I felt sorry for Uliana every time I recalled her upset face. Maybe this hike isn't the most entertaining thing ever, but sitting there all alone isn't any better either. But at the same time, I didn't want to go anywhere. I was absolutely sure that Slavia was alright, so I decided to stay. Wait, what? I was absolutely sure that Slavia was alright, so I decided to stay. I guess that's enough for me today. I sat in my previous place and waited for the end of the hike patiently, almost physically able to feel the looks of the camp leader aimed at me. At last she stood up and declared, "And now let's play cities." I had nothing against the game itself, but it was obvious that the hike will take longer because of it. Pioneers sat around the fire. I noticed Lena and Elisa, who took their places on the trunk opposite me. It seems that everything is alright. Just a few minutes ago I thought the opposite while looking at their quarrel. But anything is possible. I'd really like to know what they were talking about, but it's impossible now and I can feel tiredness growing in me more and more. My mind was completely blank. To be precise, my head was so heavy that there was no place in it for ideas to unfold. While in my better times my brain appeared to be a wide highway with millions of thoughts running by, chasing one another and causing major crashes, now it was more like a footpath lost in the woods, which is used rarely and only in exceptional cases. Slavia didn't come back. Maybe she had something to do. But once again, there's no way to find out now. But I chose to go find her. I guess it's because I purposely made bad choices earlier, since I'm going for the bad ending first. I'm not sure. Okay, let's start. Moscow. Pioneers started to name cities. Finally, it was my turn. I tried to listen closely to catch the first letter of the city I'll have to use. Arkhangelsk. The city of Ark. We played several rounds. Each new city name made it harder to remember everything that was mentioned before. It's hard enough in English. My attention was dissipating and I was already lost in all these capitals, megalopolises, villages, and urban settlements. Semyon, it's your turn. Olga Dmitrievna brought me back to reality. Oh, excuse me, and what was the last one? You're daydreaming again. It was Sevastopol. Okay, then I'll say London. Already used. Well then, it got me thinking. There were a ton of cities in the world starting with L, but it was hard to remember even one of them now. Liverpool? Already there. Los Angeles? Ah, finally. She gave me a scornful look, but the game went on. I could hardly bear to think of another sitting starting with L, but fortunately it was the last round. Okay, that's enough for today. It's already late. Time to go back. I sighed with relief. On our way back, we walked as we liked without joining in pairs. By the way, right here I want to mention that I'm recording a few episodes in bulk. So if you guys leave comments explaining anything that happened or didn't happen or things I should have done or should not have done, if I don't listen to that advice in the next episode, it's because I'm recording them in bulk. I just want to throw that out there just in case. Night descended upon a camp. A perfectly regular and normal night. It was one of those nights when dark skies, stars, and even a crescent moon don't cause any special feelings, and the chirping of crickets and the songs of the night birds seem more like routine work noises than a nocturnal chorus. In a few minutes, all the pioneers were lining up at the square. It was quite late already and fatigue took its toll, so our lineup wasn't perfectly aligned. It looked to me more like a line of Vikings after a successful battle where the warriors are happy and smiling, anticipating their return to their families rather than thinking about maintaining correct formation. But someone else could possibly see a completely defeated troop or a bunch of survivors who have to march to their homeland with the last of their strength. Thanks everyone. And now go to sleep. It's late already. Pioneers quickly each ran their own ways and I was left together with the camp leader. And we should go too. We went in complete silence to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. Okay, let's sleep, she said, turning off the light. I was tossing and turning for quite a while, recalling all the events of the day. On the one hand, I was overcome with fatigue. On the other hand, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd forgotten something, done something wrong, said something wrong. And this feeling of incompleteness was tormenting me. It was about 2 a.m. All bad things would end sooner or later. Or at least I would take a break. I fell asleep. Okay, that is so weird. I chose to go find Slavia. But he didn't go. I don't know, I guess it's because I purposely made bad choices, like I said earlier. I don't know, we'll find out when I get some sort of ending. I don't know what time it was when Olga Dmitrievna woke me up, but even before opening my eyes, I felt the imminence of death. My whole body ached, I felt dizzy, my mind was clouded by haze. Semyon, wake up immediately or you'll miss breakfast and more importantly, the lineup. Looks like the camp leader intends to exploit me to the fullest today, the same as any other day. I garbled something, covered my head with the blanket and turned to the wall. In the end, Olga Dmitrievna's anger will never go beyond words. At least I really wanted to believe so then. Stand up right now or what? I was going to say triumphantly but kept silent. Not because of fear, just because I felt too lazy to open my mouth. Really, what could she do to me? Lecture me at the lineup, hang my photo on the wall of shame? Or use me for inhuman alien experiments? Well, I'm ready for that too, just let me sleep a couple of hours. Okay, but if you missed the lineup, the door slammed behind the camp leader and the sleep which had been about to fade claimed my mind again. Okay, that is creepy as hell. Along the way I met a pioneer whose face somehow looked strangely familiar. But I was going so fast I couldn't really see him. And when I turned around he was already gone around the corner. That's new. Okay, you're back again. A pioneer leaned against a washstand over there. I couldn't see his face, but judging by his figure, he looked like the one I saw a couple of minutes ago. How are you doing? The sun's so bright today. I looked up into the sky, shielding my eyes with my palm. Yeah, nothing special. It wasn't easy to get a better look at the pioneer given by the way he stood. The bright sunlight that reflected from the water and shiny metal surfaces of the washstands heavily obscured his face, and I wasn't able to distinguish any single feature. Camp leader is angry today. So angry. His voice sounded painfully familiar too. Well, she's always like that. Well, you'd know better. Yeah. I tried to remember if I'd ever heard this voice or seen this pioneer before. Oh no, I'd remember those eyes. We'll see ya. He turned the water off and quickly marched towards the forest path. For a second I thought of following him, stopping him, but I quickly fought it off as I decided that it's not worth spoiling such a great morning with suspicions and burdensome speculations. Nature was glowing with the bright light of life. Lush treetops were... well, you get the idea. Okay, you're back. Please stop appearing like that. What are you thinking about? I looked up and saw that pioneer I'd seen before. I couldn't see his face again as the sun was shining in my eyes. You know, life. It seemed he would sit down next to me, but the pioneer stayed in the same place, only half turned, which completely killed any hope of seeing his face. Be grateful. Listen, have we met earlier? I don't think I remember you. Well, let's say that you know who I am. But I don't. I laughed sincerely. Here, you don't. He answered short. I see. Honestly, it's not like I didn't want to talk, I just didn't know what to talk about. And my soul was so calm, this didn't bother me. Your first time here? He asked the question, but his tone implied he was only expecting a confirmation. Yes, and you? Me? He paused for a few seconds. Nah, it's not my first time here. One might say that I've visited this camp every year since my early childhood. Such an answer got me interested. Well, and what was it like before? It's always the same. Olga Dmitrievna being the camp leader, all the same pioneers around, all the same lineups at the morning, and all those wicked accidents. Accidents? What accidents? For a moment I thought that it was me speaking, not him. Why? Interesting. It's just that with every new... He hesitated. Year. More and more interesting things happen, and one gets to understand better what's going on. What are you talking about? This conversation positively triggered my curiosity. It's a pity that I can't distinguish the face of this pioneer at all. Well, every session in the pioneer camp reminds me of the previous one, he said calmly. Probably. This is my first. It shows. The pioneer grinned. But it looks like it won't be the last. Well, it's fun here and all, but you know how they say there's no place like home. But you still have to get back there. Now, I was absolutely sure this guy was hiding something from me. To be precise, he stood out too much from the camp's usual ordinariness and was too different from the local inhabitants. What do you mean? You think I'm stuck here forever or something? I said, enunciating every word. pioneer had no time to answer as the lunch bell sounded. I turned my head towards the loudspeaker, and by the time I looked back, the guy was already gone. Thousands of theories and speculations instantly appeared in my mind, but I stopped myself, remembering all the apparent normality of this camp. After all, nothing supernatural has happened in these 5 days. More of everything here seemed too natural, sometimes even boring. Maybe this pioneer didn't mean anything by that and I just misunderstood him? Thinking that, I went to the canteen intending to feast. Sometimes it seemed to me that lunch here is akin to the crowds around the soup kitchens during a famine. Pioneers were running around pushing each other, trying to crawl through for the first meal and take the most comfortable table. I was calmly standing, patiently waiting for the kid to get me my assigned food rations. For lunch today we had okroshka, which I really didn't like, and cutlets with potatoes. I sat in a corner and mentally rejoiced that I would be able to eat in peace. My table was the farthest from the kitchen. I could reasonably hope that the pioneers who were looking for a free place wouldn't reach it, or would reach it last. However, when I moved on to the main course, Slavia, Shirk, and Electronic appeared from the crowd. Can we? I had nothing against their company. Of course. Lunch was going surprisingly calm. Even Electronic wasn't jabbering as he usually does. I finally finished the meal, sprawled in my chair, and satisfied clicked my tongue. Listen, do you know this pioneer? I saw him today. You know, he's so... I suddenly realized that I don't really know how to describe him. Well, about my height, same constitution. Hard to say from such a description. Slavia smiled. Well, we have half a camp of such guys if it comes to that. All in all, they were right. Why are you asking? It's just that I met him today, and it seemed like I haven't seen him here before. Look in the canteen. I don't think he'll miss lunch. Why didn't I think of that? That's it. Okay guys, enjoy your meal. I got up and started to slowly walk along the rows of tables. Lena and Xenia are sitting over there. I gave them a friendly smile. Alisa and Uliana are laughing and arguing about something. Olga Dmitrievna is surrounded by pioneers. Good thing she didn't notice me. There are hardly any free seats, but the guy from this morning is nowhere to be seen. The situation is getting more and more interesting. Looks like I won't find him here. Maybe he already had lunch? I headed to the exit. It was so hot outside that it seemed like you would instantly melt after coming out of the shade. I suddenly felt like sleeping. I yawned and headed to the camp leader's cabin in order to follow the domestic interpretation of the Archimedes principle. In the end, Olga Dmitrievna is unlikely to return anytime soon, and I will definitely have a couple of hours to rest. Anyways, I really don't expect any other options to arise, especially in this heat. The heavenly coolness in the cabin became my salvation. I took my clothes off and jumped into bed. Crickets were lazily chirping outside, the wind was shaking the curtains on the window, and I sank into a dream. Oh, don't scare me like that. Knocking on the door woke me up. The knocks were soft but insistent. I reluctantly got up and went to open it. Strangely, there was nobody on the doorstep. I rubbed my eyes and stepped out to look around. All the same, no one around. A dream, maybe? It was already 4 o'clock. I felt jaded. I probably shouldn't have slept in the afternoon. After all, I knew what was going to happen. I put on my boots, left the cabin, and locked the door. But where shall I go? All in all, there's not much time till dinner. A sudden thought came to me that it would be nice to refresh myself, so I went towards the beach. The sun had passed the midday mark a while ago. It gets dark early here in the south. I squinted and looked up at the flaming disc. Oh, not you again. Who was that just now? I flinched. The same mysterious guy was standing in front of me. Man, he creeps me out. You guys have no idea. And once again, his face was hard to see due to the bright light. For a moment, the sun blinded me so I could not see anything besides the faint contours of objects. I am really sorry if you can hear that airplane, by the way. Are you stalking me? Nope, I was just passing by. He answered calmly. Then you should know better. So you haven't seen anyone? Correct? What? I rubbed my eyes, but it did not help. Why didn't I see you at lunch? I asked bluntly. I wasn't hungry. He laughed. I blinked a few times and my vision came back, but the pioneer had miraculously disappeared once again. What the hell was going on here? Now I was absolutely sure that there was something strange about that guy. He must be directly related to everything happening around here. We'll have to find out. But for starters, it's good to confirm that I am not mistaken and that he is not just a local pioneer. It was quite crowded at the beach. It looked like everyone from the camp was here. Well, no wonder it's so hot outside. Olga Dmitrievna was just standing a bit further apart from everyone, keeping an eye on her army of pioneers. As soon as I thought that coming here might not have been the best idea, she noticed me. Hey Semyon, you weren't at the lineup, and in general you were just lounging around all day. Yeah, remind you of anyone? I did not know how to answer. Just how are you planning on becoming a proper pioneer? She continued more softly. Olga Dmitrievna, in the camp, is there a pioneer who looks a lot like... Wait a minute. They keep referencing the fact that he looks like him. Does he have any brothers? He didn't mention having siblings in the beginning of the story. Oh my gosh. Wait, no, that can't be it. Right? It can't... No. She looked surprised. Maybe I don't know. Why do you ask? I'm just curious. Well, we have a lot of boys here. Alright, never mind. Someone's yell came from the riverside and Olga Dmitrievna rushed in its direction. Well, it looks like I will be spared a lecture. I lowered myself onto the sand and stared at the pioneers playing in the water. After a few minutes of sitting here, Uliana approached me. Why so sad? Not sad. Well, why are you sitting here all alone? Just thinking. But what? I decided to spare her my story about the mysterious pioneer. Well, imagine that you're chatting with a weird person, and you have to figure out what exactly is so weird about them. Simple. I would just ask them. She laughed. Too simple. But he won't answer. How do you know? Have you tried asking? No, but it's obvious. Uliana did not answer, just sat down next to me and let out a tired sigh. I'm all swimmed out. What if they know something but won't tell you? Make them. But how? For a bit longer, we sat together talking about random things, and then I got up, said goodbye, and went away. It's time to find the mysterious stranger and get all the answers. The first place to visit was the bus stop. Okay, so I just want to interject that I've clearly deviated away from Slavia and Slavia's route. I'm gonna have to Google exactly what it is that's happening right now, so I know what to call this. Because originally I was just gonna call it Slavia, like I called the previous series Redemption Saga. I don't know what to call this now. I have no idea what's going on. After all, this is where it all began. The road was empty as always. Only small dust tornadoes were occasionally visible on it. I was ready to turn around and go back to the camp, but then I heard someone whisper, "Don't trust him." Someone was hiding behind the monument. A pioneer was sitting there with his back to me. And once again, the voice seemed strangely familiar. "Who are you?" I took a few steps toward him. "Stop. Don't come any closer." For some reason, I froze in my tracks. From somewhere deep inside, an assurance came to me and I understood that I shouldn't argue with him. "Alright, I'll stay here." "Have you seen him? Talked to him?" he asked nervously. "This isn't the same dude, is it?" "Who are you even talking about?" He was dressed in a pioneer uniform. You know who. And I definitely did know. He was talking about the weird pioneer I saw earlier. "Yes," I answered after a few moments of silence. "What did he tell you?" the pioneer asked in a pleading tone. "Nothing, really." "Did he give you advice? Did he tell you what to do? Threaten you?" "No, nothing like that. Of course, he seemed pretty weird, but nothing more than that. Remember, he may not be alone. Or more likely he is alone, but you may meet many pioneers here who look like him." "And what about you? Who are you? Who are you hiding from?" "You will understand. In time. Just remember, the most important thing is to find the exit." "The exit?" All of a sudden, a strong gust of wind came through, ripping leaves from the trees and throwing an old paper bag into my face. Shielding myself, I averted my eyes. When I looked back at the monument, the pioneer was already gone. At that moment, I was overwhelmed by fear. Real, almost tangible fear. I remember being scared during my first hours at this camp. But back then, everything around me seemed kind and friendly. Now Sovyonok revealed its fangs, getting ready to eat me. And ahead, the unknown. My body was covered in goosebumps. My throat was dry and my hands were shaking. I tried to ignore it all and headed back to camp. It was already dinner time, but I had no desire to go to the canteen. After meeting the second mysterious pioneer, just thinking about the locals made me, if not afraid, then at least creeped out. I don't even know who or what they all are. And even though nothing has happened yet, it does not mean I can trust them. I stopped in front of the clubhouse, but then realized that this is not the best spot to be at. I could run into someone, which was not something I wanted to do at the moment. Almost running, I hurried towards the forest and walked a few meters along the path before finally stopping. On one side, the mysterious pioneer. Well, two of them to be precise. On the other hand, all the other inhabitants of this camp who seemed absolutely normal. Either way, my decision is stand back and let everything else... Oh gosh, sorry, I'm not reading properly because I'm still a little bit shaken up. I expected nothing like this. Either way, my decision to stand back and let everything resolve itself was under some serious pressure. At this point, it was clear to me I had to do something on my own. But what exactly? Everyone is probably having a dinner, so I have a good chance to make it to Olga Dmitrievna's place without being noticed. I decided to first take my clothes that I wore when I arrived here along with my cell phone. I won't be able to come up with a solid plan right off the bat, so for the time being I might as well hide in the forest. I leaped up the steps and entered the building. My clothes were right where I left them and my phone was where it was supposed to be, under my pillow. I quickly grabbed it and was ready to stuff it into my pocket, but then I noticed something on the screen. The message window was open. The text read, "I just got major chills. You're wrong, Semyon. You are so wrong." It felt like my soul had left my body. I froze on the spot. I was shaking and my blood was pumping so hard, it felt like my skull was going to burst open from the pressure. It took at least a full minute for me to come back to my senses. Olga Dmitrievna could have typed in the message. Or one of the pioneers. It's easy to figure out how to do it even if they are not familiar with this technology. But no one besides me should know where I keep the phone. This event was the straw that broke the camel's back. I rushed out of the house, determined never to come back here. Night fell on the campgrounds. I had been sitting in the woods for a few hours, trembling at every noise. The spot that I chose was far away from the path, so it would be hard to find me. I was keeping a few plans in my head for the time being. Try to run, to kill every single person in the camp. However, on the other hand, one thought chased me and I realized that I shouldn't behave like this because of some strange pioneer, or even because of that message on the phone. All of this was reinforcing the thought that everything happening here was far from normal. However, there was no proof that anyone in the camp had anything to do with it. I could have stayed here until morning, lost in my own thoughts, but I heard footsteps coming from somewhere nearby. Okay. That's creepy. So you decided to escape after all. I turned around but couldn't see the pioneer's face in the dark. Nevertheless, I was pretty sure that it was him. I wasn't afraid then. More precisely, I was so physically exhausted that I was prepared for any possible course of events and somehow managed to reason appropriately and to maintain the conversation. I wouldn't call this an escape. I answered slowly, stretching every word. Huh? Then what is it? A tactical retreat. Please don't smile. Brilliant. He burst into laughter. Listen, why don't you tell me what's going on, who you are, and what you want from me? What did that guy tell you at the gate? It seemed that he didn't even hear my question. He told me not to trust you. I lied. But on the other hand, I thought that it was what he meant. Well, that's always the way for him. Running away, hiding. I could hear the irritation in his voice. I'm not sure what kind of circus you're running here, but I'm not going to be a part of it. Oh? Why not? You're the star after all. I couldn't see his face, but I bet he was smiling. Explain my part to me then. You know, I was like you in the beginning. The first time, everything went peacefully. Then I escaped. I tried to understand what was going on. Got mad and even tortured them to get the truth. What the hell are you? He laughed crazily. I shivered. But it was pointless. Continued to pioneer after calming down a bit. Pointless. And then I began to notice the lapses. At first, I just heard their voices from a distance and sometimes in my head. Then vague silhouettes appeared. Then they slowly took on physical form. And finally they stepped into my world. I could touch them, introduce them to other pioneers. What? And they were all different. Different. Do you get it? Different. He started shouting. And it recurred again and again. You can get used to the loops, but... Then I learned how to get into their worlds by myself. To interact with others. But it turned out that I'm not alone. There are lots of us. Today you saw at least one more. What are you talking about? He fell silent. I didn't know what question to ask and didn't want to interrupt his story, so I simply waited. After a minute he continued. It's not that simple, of course. And it's not always possible. Only under certain circumstances. When you feel strong emotions, for example. I instantly remembered how I saw him the first time. The time when I didn't feel any emotions at all. Including the moments when you feel happy. As if he was reading my thoughts. I see. So you're trying to say that... What? What? You're trying to say that there are several parallel worlds, including the same camp with its inhabitants where I am replaced by you, or that guy I met the... Whoa. Wait a minute. Let's just take this slow. There are several parallel worlds, including the same camp with its inhabitants where I am replaced by you, or that guy I met at the bus stop? Yeah, something like that. Parallel worlds. And he found a way to travel between them? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Then I learned how to get into the worlds by myself, to interact with the others. But it turned out that I'm not alone. There are lots of us. Only under certain circumstances. Replaced by you. Replaced? What do you mean replaced? His answer didn't surprise me at all. In the end, it's clear that whatever happens here is beyond the limits of human understanding, and this theory didn't even seem all that unusual. But you've said that everything recurs. Yes, it recurs. And what will happen? Oh my gosh. Okay. It just barely hit me. That's why he looks familiar to Semyon. That's... Wait, are you... That's another Semyon? That's another Semyon. Wait a minute. That's a Semyon that tortured the other pioneers? An evil Semyon? I'm getting Flash Savitar vibes from this, for those of you that know what I'm talking about. And what will happen afterwards? You'll start from the very beginning. You'll wake in the bus, come to the camp, meet Olga Dmitrievna and the girls electronic. I was right. My goodness, I was right. Time loop. So at the end of Lena's good ending, when he said that he felt like he was falling into warm ether, was that was him waking up in the bus again? But if it happened to you, then why should it happen to me as well? It happens to everyone. Once again, he laughed hysterically. And how many loops have you experienced so far? I stopped counting them already. At first I tried to remember them though. Maybe a few hundred? No wonder. It was very clear to me that this guy was suffering from a progressing mental dysfunction. But you searched for a way out, didn't you? He didn't answer. That's what that guy at the bus stop was talking about. Because he understands nothing, damn it. He shouted. Because he's just like you, constantly running away, hiding. What would you suggest then? If I had any suggestions, I wouldn't be here standing talking to you. Right, but you were trying, weren't you? Are you trying to understand what I know, since I've been here around for a long time? He asked cheerfully. Well, that's evident. Yes, I did try to run away from here. There. He waved towards the forest. There's nothing there. Nothing but trees. When I'd been walking there for several days and finally passed out, I found myself in the bus again. Same for walking along the road. It's endless. Talking to somebody about that is pointless. You probably already understood that by yourself. I did. I interjected. Even if you try to explain your situation directly, at best you'd just be considered an idiot. Well, no, Lena believed them. What if you tried to not leave the bus? It's pointless. Sooner or later you'll be found. I even tried to spend the entire time there. In the end I fell asleep and everything started from the beginning. And what if you started by yourself and leave? No keys. I don't have any carjacking skills. A cursed cycle. Holy fudge. Exactly. A long silence fell. Finally I asked, and what about the people around here? Don't they raise absolutely reasonable suspicions? Suspicions? Laughter again. Stop laughing. The only thing that is suspicious about them is that no matter how much you tell them, they stare at you with their eyes out on stalks. The people. I feared them at first too. Then I used them for different experiments. And now I don't consider them humans. They're all dolls, puppets. You can easily predict any reaction, any word or action. So they aren't worth fearing, are they? The one worth fearing is yourself, he said softly. Do you know how funny it is when human bones crack as they slowly break from distension? Looks like he has finally lost his marbles. Listen, I understand everything, but the other one thinks that it's a bit much too. But it doesn't matter. Nobody but you is real here. The pioneer suddenly fell silent. Well, no. I don't agree with you. You're probably thinking why I didn't check this out by myself, aren't you? Why I didn't try to reach the nearest village or town. Yes, I did have such thoughts. Why wasn't I suspicious? Why was I doing different stuff instead of searching for answers? Well, yes. Forget about it. That's normal. We all behave like this for the first time here. But how many others have you seen so far? Not that many. The pioneer was lost in thought. About 10 people, maybe. But I'm sure there are many more of them. And is everyone like this? In fact, yes. Only the details are different, but the main thing is invariable. There's no way out of here. And by the way, you're just like the majority of them. The only thing that differs is that you have heard everything from me instead of experiencing it for yourself. I don't know if I should thank him for that. Well, what now? Nothing, he said shortly. I closed my eyes and lost myself in thought. That was a critical mistake. When I opened the eyes, I didn't see anybody just like the previous times. So it's clear what's going on now. But in fact, how could everything he said guide me to an answer? Yes, I'm not alone. Yes, everything recurs. But what's the reason for all this? And what is more important, where's the way out? The only useful thing that I extracted from the conversation was that the local inhabitants were not worth fearing. That was quite significant to me for now, since it was much better to sleep in a warm cabin instead of the forest. I sighed, took my things, and headed towards the camp. Why did I not ask him about the message on my phone, and some other stuff? There were hints after all. Maybe if I found some details out, I could have drawn out some conclusions. However, it didn't seem like our meeting would be the last one. The lights were on in Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. I think Oh, okay. Speak of the devil, here you are, the camp leader said angrily. Olga Dmitrievna, I'm so tired now, so let's put off the lecture. Tired from what? I wonder. From everything, I snapped rudely. The camp leader looked at me with surprise. I fell onto bed without undressing. Semyon, a role model pioneer shouldn't behave like that. And how should he behave then? Well, not like that. The camp leader stumbled for a moment as if struggling to pick the right words. He should respect his seniors. I respect you immensely for sure. Semyon! The sarcasm in my voice didn't go unnoticed. And now I'd like to sleep. Wait, by the way, how far is the nearest town? When does the bus arrive? How can I even get out of here? I asked in a surprisingly calm voice. And there was no answer, and there shouldn't have been any. I said all this just in order to get rid of her. Why are you silent? I'm tired. Let's talk about that tomorrow. The camp leader got up and turned off the light. Yes, it's all just like that guy said. Why did I speak to him so calmly and properly, I wonder? I should have been shivering from horror. That pioneer didn't have much credibility, but I had a feeling that he's unable to harm me. As soon as I thought that it would be a good idea to ask something else, fatigue overtook me and I passed out.